look at a framework that helps us to connect the penthouse with the engineering room in the same way that Gregor does that. This is all about that, CI/CD. So, Pavel, what is the framework about that we're going to look at today?
It's exactly about what you said, to be able to discuss CI/CD with different languages, with different people in different countries, really. So engineering room, this kind of leading room, and so on.
Cool, and I'm really excited because I haven't seen other people doing something like that. But before we go into technical things, I have two things for you. First one, as the people watching my channel know, this is a new setup. Last time we recorded, I kind of put this sticker on, and you have the challenge to select the next one that is going to be put behind me. I have this beautiful one selected for you. This is community.lbs. I also have a builder card sticker for you. And I then have my pre-invent hike sticker from 2022. Which one do you want me to put up next?
I will go with the voice of my daughter, or honestly speaking, and they will choose the first one because it's so cute.
Cool, this one, which is a sticker for the community.aws site that the AWS community team has been building. So I will put that up later. Let me just put that over here for this session. And then, Pavel, who are you? How did we meet? What the hell are you and I talking about today?
I am the person who likes to do things differently. That's why this framework, and as you said, that probably nobody really thought about this earlier. So I'm based in Poland, in Krakow. I am in IT for 26 years now, I think, something like that. So I saw many things which I don't want to see again. And I started as a sysop, so the person who is sitting in the cave, so nobody wants to really go to you there. They are more scared of you than your CEO. And I came to IT, well, not to talk to people, right? But life changed people. And I think more than 10 years ago, I switched to DevOps area, really. And I started to be interested in DevOps in the classical way. So DevOps is all about automation and nothing else. And then I saw something like Agile. And I started to dig deeper into Agile, into DevOps. That's why I'm saying that DevOps in Agile way. This is like my motto or something. And I started to be interested more in DevOps as a process part, as a really, like as I said in my framework webpage, that DevOps is the heart of the organization, right? It's not just the automation. If we take this Colm's framework, automation is only 1/5.
True.
And that's true, right? And this brings me to the place where I started to really lead the processes, the projects, and so on and so on and so on. And I started to realize that when you talk with customers on different levels, they don't understand technical language. What is obvious? It's not their area of expertise. And we, as engineers, we don't understand their language, what is also obvious. So I try to find a way, because, it's normal that you should have the communication with your client, build a relation, build the trust, and so on and so on, and how you can do it, especially in the pandemic time, by talking to people, right? And I remember one project when we had a huge impact and huge like a decision part related to maybe not C-level, but almost C-level people. And the case was to discuss enterprise architecture with them, and also all aspects what we will do in the project. And a colleague of mine who was the enterprise architect at that time, he started to present the approach to enterprise architecture using mind maps.
Okay.
And I thought, hey, this is the idea, really, right? Because I saw how well it worked, really. And I tried to find a way to do something similar for CI/CD, to explain what CI/CD really is, how it works, why the hell we start to think about this at all. And I've
Okay.
done similar thing. So I've created the mind map. We discussed different aspects, and it went so well that this mind map stayed with me, and I started to really do the things with it, really.
Okay.
So yeah, that was how the framework started, and I heard many positive feedbacks about this. I never heard negative,
Okay.
probably because no one want to share it, but still, more on plus side, not
Yeah,
the
and,
negative.
and essentially, I think it's not only if you talk to clients; it's also if you want to talk about what CI/CD actually means within an organization, right? That's also where you have the same challenge, and I think trying to find an answer on how to explain why only automation doesn't solve all problems that an organization has. That is
Yes.
something that it doesn't always come across, right?
Oh,
Especially
definitely.
as yeah, we engineers, we tend to go into actioning and solutioning stuff without really understanding that the root cause of the problem might be something else. So that's where, when I read about your framework and through the framework, I thought, okay, let me get Pavel on to explain us in details what he's thinking about
Yeah.
and maybe give a little bit more visibility into we can make this really something that we can talk about
Yeah,
a
sure.
little bit broader.
Yeah, sure. And I think about CI/CD right now as a bloodstream of your body, really, because what CI/CD does really is to deliver the blood from the development from the heart,
Mhm.
right, to all organs in your body, really, and make
Yes.
this body work.
And at the end, I think on top of CI/CD, we then have that conversation around the value stream of your software business at the end, right? Which sits kind of one layer more abstracted above the CI/CD portion, right?
Yes.
Um,
And
because there comes more to that as well.
yeah, and when you look on CI/CD in scope of value stream, if you map your value stream, you will see that this CI/CD process is like really integral part of this. Smaller, bigger, depends, but still very important part of this value stream.
Yeah, so why are you then wearing the DevOps is Dead shirt if you kind of think that DevOps is a cool thing? Tell me.
Yeah, this is the T-shirt which I received on one of the KubeCons, I think, and I love it so much because I love this discussion, especially when first when SRE appeared. So DevOps is dead right now. Then SRE wasn't able to kill DevOps fully, so we have platform engineering which tries to kill DevOps again, and well, it doesn't work that well for them, at least. So yeah, I'd like to have this like a kind of discussion starter, really, because I really believe in
Okay.
DevOps.
Yeah, that makes sense. Cool. Then let's have a look on the framework and
Sure,
let's see how we can apply that to our own business.
of course. So what you see here is the web page which I created, and don't get me wrong, I didn't spend much time creating this web page. I'm using Hugo here, and I'm not the developer, and I will never be. Believe me, I know that. And I want to start with benefits really of this framework because I found this really during the work with the framework with customers with clients when not only on the the business level on the but also on the project management level on the
Hmm?
engineering level and so on and so on and so on and security level. Well, security is always last, right? um, the benefits of this framework are here, and really what I found it is very useful. It is the unification of the way how we see the CI/CD in the organization. We
Hmm?
understand the CI/CD. What is the purpose of it, right? This is the translation point. I like to say that this is like a Rosetta Stone of CI/CD. Yeah, I know it's bold, but anyway, because using it, you can translate what you think as an engineer to C-level, for example, right? We can align the processes because this is very important. I really believe in unification of processes because I think what we took, like in general, what we took from Agile is the only one thing which is wrong. that team is independent and they can do whatever they want. But
Okay.
not the team is selling the product on the end of the day. It's the organization. So that's why those processes must be aligned. It builds the cooperation between teams and understanding common goals and connecting between different areas. Why this is important? I think I don't want to say that I did it like in the same time like the guys from the team topologies, but it was kind of influenced by this book, really, and it was the same thinking as I have. So
Okay.
those are the really the benefits, and let's see how the framework really looks. And as I said, this is the mind map. And yes, I know it's quite small right now, but I want to show the complexity of
Yeah.
the idea. Um, Here we can see multiple areas, and the beauty, in my eyes at least, in the beauty of this framework is that you can start wherever you want. On which topic you want, you can go and start. There is no starting, no ending point. This is like a discussion in circles, or the in the Scrum way, in like iterations. So let me just do some zoom, and we have couple of main areas when we can discuss, right? So let's, for example, start with the branching strategy, because we want to discuss the branching strategies, right? And when we talk about branching strategy, we have, of course, the branching strategy itself, but we
Mm-hmm.
can discuss code structure, repository design, access management to these repositories and the code, infrastructure as code, integrations, and so on and so on and so on. I don't want to go through all of those steps because this is not the point here, but to show you the complexity, right? So we have more and more and more branches here, where we can discuss, when we can select specific approach, in like a general approach to the way how we want to deliver the value to the client.
Mm-hmm.
And then, having branching strategy, we can, for example, discuss the delivery strategy, because we selected some approach, we understand what is behind, and we can discuss now what we will do in order to deliver this.
Mm-hmm.
What we will do in order to, for example, there should be somewhere the tests. Yes, testing strategy in our delivery, right? And then maybe we have some security guy in our meeting, and this guy is like bored by the delivering branching strategy. But what interests him is how really we will secure the approach, what we plan to do in order to have this secure stuff. And I have quite big security section here.
Mm-hmm.
And we can discuss this on different levels, because what is sometimes very important, as I say, how we design our pipelines by default. This is the code, this tool I know, and we have the pipeline, right? And that's it.
Yeah.
But it's not the point, because, for example, we can have some, let's call it obstacles, because we are in the regulated environment and we cannot use like third-party internet located tools.
Mm-hmm.
This is our element which we really need to take into consideration, and this will impact very much the landscape of our tooling, and
Yeah.
and even how we will connect between different parts of our environments, how we will place CI/CD, and so on and so on and so on. Licenses, for example, this is another story, because it's not that uncommon that you have multiple tools where you pay for them. Why? Right?
True.
So
I think I think it shows that you can go into any direction if you have these conversations, right? So if you start looking at the framework and start from a central point of CI/CD, you also get two different parts, and especially the security section. I think it varies a lot around the organization as well that you
yes,
have to, right? And what I take away of it is that, especially also there is pieces which are already clear for your organization, because you might have corporate policies, and especially from a security standpoint, you might have tools selected by security that you need to comply with and these kind of things.
Yes.
Now, by looking at the mind map, you can kind of check the items of the mind map that you have already resolved. And I think that also visualizes a lot what is left at the end, right? That you need to look at.
Oh yes, and when you do the preparation, and you know already what you already have, what you already have to have, you can put it in here, and then you can, for example, do like connection between, right? So you can connect. I forgot how to use it, or relationship, or maybe not. Sorry, I didn't use it for a couple of months, Xmind, and I forgot how to do it. Anyway, you can connect multiple elements.
You can connect
together.
the different items with each other,
Yes.
right? And that gives you a good idea of where you also have dependencies and stuff that needs to happen, right?
And when you draw this on the table, on the piece of paper, on Xmind, or whatever tool you are using, you have everything in front of your eyes. It's not disconnected, right? Because normally how we think about security, how security is connected to rollbacks in our minds, it's completely not, right? It's completely different thing. But here we can say, hey, we cannot do it in that way because of this aspect, right? You have everything in front of you. So this is really the power of this framework, that it like compress every aspect in one place and allows you to see the big picture.
That makes sense.
That's why I'm saying this is like a CI/CD from the helicopter point of view, right? Because this gives you the like a better understanding of the whole picture, not only the very specific element. And for this, really, the CI/CD, as we very often think about this, like just the pipeline, is one or two really branches here, nothing more, right? So the CI/CD starts to look much more complicated than we think.
Yeah, then it actually seems, if you talk about it, right? So how do you take this framework and start having a conversation with someone from the C-level? Is that different than if you talk with someone from the engineering team? What's your approach if you go to your clients?
So first of all, I have the very annoying tendency to have an agenda in the meeting invitation. So
why should you do that?
Because
but I know what you're saying. So for everyone watching, we are joking about this. Every good meeting should have an agenda invite and should have a detail on what you're going to talk about.
So in this case, I am at least I know in broad idea what will be the topic.
Okay.
And this allows me to like pinpoint the things which I want to discuss. Okay. But when I start for the first time, I explain what this framework really is. In short, maybe even shorter than in your videocast podcast, to give the picture and understanding why we do this, just to make sure that we design or align the process organizational wide. What really can hit the minds of the C-level, because they don't think really about the pipeline. They think about the process, about the value, and so on and so on and so on. And then if we have this point in the agenda, what we want to discuss, I'm jumping into the proper section, and during the discussion we can at least say, hey, in this case we need to also talk about something else. Let's do it now or on different meeting, it's up to you. But we start to really draw this mind map, or maybe not draw from the scratch, but start to adding more things. For example, we can say, okay, that we select this, and oh yes, this is how it works. Okay, and we can say, all right, we just talked about this, so we can mark it like this is our most important priority, and so on and so on
Mm-hmm.
and so on. So yes, in this case, the tool is uh, quite good, and we can even add some notes, some labels. We can start filling and build more and more branches, right? And
Mm-hmm.
on the end of the day, when everything is discussed, the boring part comes to the picture. So I need to write down everything.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that makes sense.
at this point, I didn't automate the process yet.
Okay.
Maybe ChatGPT or something. But well, that's not a bad idea anyway. Um, to create a document with all things we agreed.
Mm-hmm.
This document, of course, is growing. This document is the place where everyone can go and see what's going on. But also in this document, this mind map is attached, just to give
Okay.
the perspective how we did things, right? So
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes complete sense. Now, maybe a stupid thing because you're talking on a CI/CD channel about this, but why is CI/CD the center of your framework? Why is it not DevOps culture or automation, or why did you not choose to put this in the center of the conversations and not anything else, right? That would be possible as well.
so this was this framework was born as a kind of operational thing for me, just to find a way how to discuss CI/CD with different type of people in the organization. And then I started to think really deeply, how can I put this into this DevOps picture, really, right? And what came to my mind really is what I have in my first statement on the webpage. So if you think about DevOps as a heart of your organization, then value stream management is the brain, and the CI/CD is really the bloodstream. Because as I said, the CI/CD delivers
Hmm?
the value to every single piece of your body, right? And I don't want to say that everything else is like secondary thing, because it's not.
Okay.
But this process is something what very often blocks the like really good development
Mm-hmm.
and really good delivery. And also around CI/CD, we really can align processes in the organization, especially this like a technical processes in the organization, because really starting with CI/CD, with proper approach to CI/CD, we start doing proper automation, we start doing proper infrastructure as code, we start stopping. Well, it sounds a little bit weird, but what I mean, we start thinking that really people doesn't need to have access to production accounts. I mean, the right access, right?
Hmm?
To avoid drifts, to avoid things like that. This is the beginning. If you have proper CI/CD process and you put infrastructure as code in this process and it works, this is quite important. Probably you don't have a need really to go into the environment and do something by your hand, which you should avoid, right? But you cannot do it without proper process to deliver your infrastructure and fixing if something is wrong. So I thought about this as kind of important element, and when I started with the framework, honestly speaking, being like fully transparent, I didn't believe that CI/CD is so important. But when I started to dig deeper into this and find another connection and another connection and another connection and another importance of it, I started to realize that, hey, this is really the bloodstream. And I don't know how about your country, but in Poland, the number of deaths because of your bloodstream is not working correctly is quite high.
Yeah, I think that's correct. There's a lot of organizations that struggle building up CI/CD processes in a good way and making sure that they also run. And I think as a community, we have been very good at showcasing that CI/CD is simple and everyone needs to do it and that everything should be automated. But if we then look back into our organizations,
Yes.
we don't always have that up and running, right? And I think that's a big challenge for a lot of organizations as well. While a lot of blog posts talk about everything is perfect, the organization itself isn't at that stage. And I think that's something, worth addressing.
And this is the same case like with the infrastructure as code, which we are not talking about here. But the point is that having one pipeline, 2, 5 pipelines, it's relatively easy. But when you think about the scale, when you have thousands of pipelines or hundreds of thousands, it becomes more and more problematic, and management of it is, well, impossible if you don't like architect proper approach to it.
That is true. Pavel, thank you so much for this first session.
Yes.
Before I let you go, and we then get together again to record the second session where we're going to use this framework in practice for a personal project. Can we end with something from the engineering room? What is your preferred CI/CD tool today if you go to a customer? Is that something that you will advise?
Oh, wow, that's a good question. Right now, I think it will be GitHub Actions because it's really easy to use, and it has a huge possibilities and tools around to really scale your projects. So I can build something, for example, like pull request or the code for pull request for my infrastructure as code, and have it like used in every single pipeline I build. So the modularity, the scalability of the tool, and so on and so on. I like Azure DevOps, really, honestly. And yes, we both are AWS guys, but well, in this case, let's not talk about AWS approach to CI/CD. But I'm using it. I'm
That
not
would
able
be
to. Yes.
a whole other story. We
Yeah.
can talk about that as well.
Yeah. So generally, yeah, and that kind of tools like GitHub Actions and Azure DevOps, they are the most preferred by me.
Cool. Then last thing, if people want to get back to you and or send feedback to this approach and this framework, I will definitely add everything, the links to the show notes so people can also see that. What's your preferred way to get reached today? These days?
Today, this will be like LinkedIn, I think, still.
Okay.
But whatever you choose here, you can use it. I'm not using the Twitter anymore, and yes, for me it's Twitter, not X. It will never be X.
True.
I'm not using it, so I should remove this icon. But any other way of connecting.
Cool. Thank you so much, Pavel. And I'm really looking forward to get you back on and see this also in action.
Sure.
And I hope that, we will see more people talking about this, about CI/CD using a more sophisticated and more structured approach than we're used to do it.
Oh yes,
thank you so much
that's very good.
Thank you for bringing this idea up as well, Pavel.
You're very much
and have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.